European leaders have welcomed the framework deal to end war reached between the United States and Iran.
The G7 summit kicks off in Evian in France on Monday with heightened security.
An Oslo court sentenced Norwegian Crown Princess Mette-Marit's son to 4 years in prison on 2 counts of rape and other offences. European leaders have welcomed the framework deal to end war reached between the United States and Iran. On X, the president of the European Council, Antonio Costa, said that he was looking forward to an end to this costly war. I commend the tireless diplomatic efforts of all those who made this deal possible, he added. The EU's top diplomat is on the same page.
There's the deal that has been announced now by US and Iran that is much welcomed by everybody. It is the first phase to open the Strait of Hormuz and then move on to the negotiations on the critical topics like the nuclear issue, but also other critical issues that are important for the stability and peace in the region.
On a lighter note, Mr. Speaker,
For the British Prime Minister, this is an encouraging announcement and an opportunity to be seized.
This is a hugely significant moment. We have long called for de-escalation, and it is vital that all parties seize this opportunity to secure stability in the region and restore freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz.
In a joint statement, the UK, together with France, Germany and Italy, have pledged to play their part in ensuring the free and unrestricted flow of traffic along the Strait of Hormuz. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni referred to a strictly defensive and independent mission aimed at reassuring commercial traffic and carrying out mine-clearing operations.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has condemned what he called one of Russia's most serious crimes against Christian culture to date, following Moscow's assault which damaged the 11th century Dormition Cathedral within Kyiv-Pekeslavra. The damage came during the large Russian missile and drone attack on Kyiv overnight into Monday that left at least 11 people dead, dozens injured, and several residential buildings destroyed. Russia has denied hitting the historical site. Visiting the scene with members of his government, Zelensky hailed the rescue efforts and noted the bells of the Lavra again rang out across Kyiv, symbolically, despite the damage the church had suffered. The Kyiv-Pekeslavra, also known as the Monastery of the Caves, is a sprawling complex of monasteries and churches, including some underground, built between the 11th and 19th centuries. Some of the churches at the UNESCO-listed World Heritage Site are connected to a labyrinthine complex of caves spanning more than 600 meters. The attack prompted swift condemnation across Europe, with the French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot describing it as equivalent, for us French, quote, of a bombing of the Notre Dame, referring to the iconic Paris Cathedral.
On her way to the G7 in France, Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi met Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni in Rome on Monday. The meeting takes place a few hours after the announcement of the framework agreement between the US and Iran. Takaichi has pledged to contribute to peace and stability across the Middle East by guaranteeing free and safe navigation in the Strait of Hormuz and energy resilience. The Japanese and Italian leaders discussed how to strengthen their cooperation in the run-up to the G20 summit, which will be held in December in Miami.
Sulla difesa, altro settore cruciale della nostra cooperazione, abbiamo continuato a lavorare fianco a fianco su un programma che è molto strategico, che è il Global Compact Air Program. ci vede impegnati insieme al Regno Unito nello sviluppo di un caccia di sesta generazione. Anche qui siamo entrati finalmente nella fase operativa.
Italy and Japan aim to consolidate the bilateral special strategic partnership they signed in January, as this year will mark the 160th anniversary of their diplomatic relations. Space, defense, economic security and industrial cooperation are set to become the partnership's main drivers. Japan remains Italy's third largest trading partner in Asia and the second largest destination for Italian exports in the Asian continent. No fewer than 16,000 members of the French police force have been mobilized to provide security for the G7 summit, which opens this Monday in the spa town of Evian. The summit is taking place in a climate of high tension, with clashes erupting in Geneva on Sunday between anti-G7 demonstrators and the police. At the heart of the large-scale security operation, the mining teams will be in charge of checking hundreds of vehicles during the summit.
On a des volumes qui sont prévus, où on est un peu autour du millier de voitures par jour. Aujourd'hui, c'est le début du sommet, les autorités arrivent demain, mais grosso modo, on sera entre 500 et 1000 voitures par jour, à vue de nez, bien sûr.
All vehicles entering the summit site are screened by a state-of-the-art device which allows the bomb squad to detect any suspicious devices hanging under the chassis.
Donc en fait, le véhicule passe sous la plaque jaune, sur la plaque jaune que vous voyez à côté, et après le passage, on obtient cette image qui nous permet de checker l'entièreté du véhicule, donc les passages de roues, au niveau des échappements.
It is then the turn of the explosive detection dogs to check the interior of the vehicles, followed by specialists from the army. It's a complex operation, but one that can be completed in just a few minutes.
Faire un véhicule nous prend, c'est assez rapide. Hein. On peut être entre 5 et 7 minutes par véhicule. Donc on peut absorber quand même un flux de véhicules assez important.
This enhanced security arrangement was largely inspired by the one put in place during the Paris Olympics in 2024.
Là, il y a un peu plus de 100 démineurs qui sont engagés sur le service. Ça fait pratiquement un tiers des effectifs du service du déminage au complet. Chaque ligne oblige à mettre en place des conducteurs de chiens avec des chiens détecteurs signaux explosifs et des spécialistes de la recherche de explosifs qui sont là pour cette séquence-là, issus des armées.
The leaders of the other G7 countries will be received this Monday by Emmanuel Macron in Evian. Several guest countries, including Brazil and India, will also be represented.
An Oslo court on Monday sentenced Norwegian Crown Princess Mette-Marit's son to 4 years in prison on 2 counts of rape and other offences in a high-profile scandal that has rocked the monarchy. Marius Borg Høiby was accused of 40 charges, from rape to traffic violations, carrying a maximum possible sentence of 16 years in prison. Høiby, who is not formally part of the royal household and has no steady job, was acquitted for 2 other counts of rape and convicted of repeated domestic abuse against an ex-girlfriend, traffic violations, issuing threats and other offences. Høiby had denied the most serious allegations, including the rape charges, although during the trial he acknowledged that jealousy sometimes made him lose control. The rapes of which he was accused occurred between 2018 and 2024. The women themselves did not file rape charges against Høiby. Instead, police investigating the August 2024 incident discovered videos on his phones and computers, which they said constituted rapes, and contacted the women, who were unaware of the events depicted. His defense team had called for him to serve 18 months for the other charges, to which he pleaded guilty, including transporting 3.5 kilos of marijuana, physical assaults and threats.
Professional fishermen in Crete are in despair as pufferfish, an invasive species that entered the Mediterranean through the Suez Canal, continue to devastate marine biodiversity. The pufferfish problem affects many Mediterranean countries, particularly Cyprus and Greece, where this poisonous and highly opportunistic predator has become dominant in recent years. In addition to containing a powerful toxin that makes them deadly if consumed, these fish have exceptionally strong jaws capable of biting through wood and metal.
Έφαγε το ψάρι, έκοψε το σκηνή. Κοίτα ζημιές. Άχρηστα τα εργαλεία. Δηλαδή αυτά σε 5 μέρες θα τα βγάλω έξω, πρέπει να πάρω άλλα.
Είναι ένα ψάρι πολύ δύσκολο. Πανφάγο, τρώει ό,τι βρει. Δεν τον ενοχλάει κανένας.
Έχει γεμίσει θάλασσα λιοντόψαρα και λαγόψαρα και ντρομπέτες. Όλο ξενικά είδη. Και δεν έφτιαξε ένα καλό ψάρι, όλο κακά.
Greek fishermen are calling on the government to immediately implement a subsidy program for the removal of these fish, allowing fishermen to catch them and reduce their population, while limiting the enormous damage pufferfish are causing to their livelihoods.
Έχουμε κάνει μελέτες και έχουμε δει ότι έχει μεγάλη επίπτωση στους αλιείς, της παράκτιας αλίας. Έχουμε εκτιμήσει αυτή τη ζημιά γύρω στις 8.500 ευρώ ετησίως για κάθε σκάφος.
Pufferfish were first recorded in Greece in 2005 in Crete and the Dodecanese Islands. 20 years later, they are now found throughout the country, with scientists warning that consuming them can be fatal.
Η τετροδοτοξίνη είναι πάρα πολύ επικίνδυνη τοξίνη εφόσον καταποθεί. Προκαλεί καρδιακή ανεπάρκεια, σταματάνε να λειτουργούν οι πνεύμονες. Γενικά θέλει πάρα πολύ μεγάλη προσοχή.
Research is also underway to find ways to neutralize the fish's toxins so that it may eventually become commercially viable or at least useful for other purposes.
Έχουμε προχωρήσει σε έρευνα για να βρούμε τρόπους έτσι ώστε να απομακρύνουμε την τετροδοτοξίνη από τον λαγοκέφαλο και να μπορέσουμε έτσι την καθαρή βιομάζα να την εκμεταλλευτούμε σε κάποιες ήπιες εφαρμογές, π.χ. για λιπάσματα, κομπόστ και τέτοια πράγματα.